Are you new to For Honor? Do you have a friend that's forcing you to play with them? Well, sorry for your loss, but if you really want, this is how you play. Alright, so first thing you're going to want to do is go to your settings. Go to options, right? You're going to go to graphics, make sure all your graphics are, set to what you can handle. Turn off motion blur. Turn that shit off. Go to user interface. I recommend turning on the display damage and log. It's just good. It's just good. For controls, you're going to want to go to fight controls tuning. You're going to want to go to controller, and you're going to want to make sure your guard mode dead zone is at 0. If you have any stick drift, maybe turn it up a bit, but I recommend having this as low as possible. Now, another thing that I forgot to mention, go to display, go to field of view, make sure this is all the way up. This is so you can see everything that's going around you. Also, turn off letterboxing. It's ugly. Also, play with controller. And if there's people who know how to play the game here that are playing with mouse and keyboard, I don't care. Play with controller. The game was made for it. Right now, I am in training. Step 1, hold the left trigger to lock on. Ooh, and then you move your left stick to walk around while you're locked on. Whoa! Crazy! Isn't that crazy, Soup?
I haven't been properly introduced yet.
Oh, well, this is Soup. While you're locked on, press A. That makes you dodge. Now, to dodge in a certain direction, you walk in the direction you want to dodge, and then you press A. Whoa! You can dodge! Holy shit! Now, to move where you're guarding, move your right stick around. Left, right, up, left, right, left, up. This is how you choose where you're blocking and where you're attacking from. So, to block, what you do is move your stick in the direction that the red is coming from on the enemy player. Do not worry about where the white is. Just pay attention when it turns red. To choose which direction you are attacking from, same as before, I already said this. Just move your guard in the direction you want to attack from, and then just throw it. There are a few different types of attacks. So, generally, you have your lights and your heavies. You also have another one. I'll get to that in a second. So, the trigger is what does a heavy attack. Heavy attacks are slower, they do more damage, and they can be feinted. I'll get to that later. Light attacks are generally your right bumper. They're faster, they can't be feinted, but they do less damage. Now, the third type of attack is called a zone attack. Each character has one unique to them. The way you do this is you press heavy and light at the same time. Usually, it will be a pretty fast attack and it'll have a bigger hitbox. Some characters, their zone attacks are different. Now, the zone attack will come out from the same direction regardless of where your guard is. So even if you have your guard top, throw the zone attack and it'll come from the side. Each character has a different direction for their zone attack. It's either left or right. That's just something that you're gonna have to figure out, but it's not hard. So now to parry, what you do is while you're locked on, you press heavy in the same direction that it's about to hit you from. A good tip for this is don't worry about where the white guard is, just pay attention when it turns red. Remember, it doesn't matter what kind of attack it is, you always parry with the heavy button. The timing is you press the heavy as it's about to hit you. There's a little white flash, but that's really hard to react to, so try to get the timing down and just do it when they're about to hit you. So up next is guard breaking. Now to guard break, what you do is you press X or square if you're on PlayStation, which nerd. Okay, I'm restarting. That was.
Dude, what the fuck?
Wait, why? What are you on PlayStation? You got small hands or something? Fucking prick. For guard breaking, what you do is you press X, or if you're on PlayStation, you press square, and that is how you guard break. Now, to counter guard break, you press the guard break button, which is, X or square, as soon as you get guard broken. Press it as soon as you can. Be ready to do this at all times. Pay attention and look out for it. This is something a lot of new players struggle with, but it is something that you will need to learn. Now, there are certain times you cannot counter guard break because you get caught in something. I will get to that later in the video. When you land a successful guard break, press guard break again to throw them. To choose which direction to throw them in, move in the direction that you want to throw them. So if you want to throw them behind you, guard break them and then press guard break again while moving your left stick backwards. Same for the other directions. You want to throw them left, move to the left. What I'm doing is I'm guard breaking once, pressing it again while moving in the direction. Guard break, move right, throw. Whoops. Guard break, move left, and press guard break again. And that is how you throw people. Now we're gonna move on to feinting. Now to feint an attack, what you do is you press B or circle during your attack. Now, you can feint heavies, so what you do is you press heavy, and then press the feint button as quick as you can. You need to decide that you're gonna feint it before you do it, usually. So, what you do is you just press it, and then press B or circle right after. So heavy, and then cancel. You can wait a little bit, but usually it'll feint on the same timing anyways. So just press it as soon as you can if you're sure that you want to feint it. Feinting does cost stamina, so keep that in mind. You cannot feint light attacks, and some zone attacks you cannot feint, but certain characters have ones that you can. Some characters also have different types of moves that can be feinted, like bashes. Warden has one that can be feinted, but do not worry about that for now. All you need to know is you feint with the feint button during your heavy. Show them what it looks like, X-Wing, to the person. This is what it looks like when someone's feinting against you. So, up next is stamina. Stamina is that green bar up there under your health bar. Now, almost everything you do costs stamina. Heavies and lights will both cost stam. Heavies, lights, your zone, feinting. Dodging does not cost stamina, so do not worry about running out of stamina by dodging, but everything else does. So I'm gonna run myself out of stamina here. This is what it looks like when you're out of stam. I'm gonna set it so I stay out of stam. So, when you're out of stamina, your attacks become extremely slow. Oh yeah, if you get parried while you're out of stamina, you will fall over, and then the enemy will get a free attack. So, the best thing is, don't attack. The best thing to do is don't attack when you're out of stamina. You also cannot feint your heavies if you're out of stamina. Also, if you get guard broken and thrown while you're out of stamina, you will also fall over. So, pay attention to your stamina. Don't run out. It's bad to run out. Rolling also costs stamina. It costs a lot of stamina. So if you're unlocked and you roll, which is just the dodge button while you're unlocked, and also if you dodge backwards and then dodge backwards again, you will roll, and that will cost a lot of stamina. So use that sparingly, because running out of stam is, again, very bad. It's bad. So, next up is something called Unblockable Attacks, which means you cannot block them, so you either have to parry them or dodge them. And I'll get more into mix-ups later, but this is what it looks like when you do it. So I'm going to throw a light, and then my heavy right after will be unblockable. Notice how I glow orange. That means it's unblockable, so it cannot be blocked, even if they put their guard there. Notice how he puts his guard there on the left? I send it from the left, but it goes right through. Now this is what it looks like when an unblockable is thrown at you. Notice how it has that orange indicator. That orange little indicator there means it's unblockable. See how my guard is on the side that it's from? And it is going through still? So either you parry it, you dodge it. That's what you do. You cannot block it. It'll go through. Up next is called Undodgeable Attacks, and I think the name is pretty self-explanatory. It means you cannot dodge it. Now, instead of being red or orange like Unblockables, it's blue. Notice how my weapon is blue, or the weapon trail is blue. See how he's dodging? But it's hitting him. You cannot dodge it. Now, you can block it, and you can parry it. Just like that. Now I'm going to show you what it looks like when someone does an undodgeable to you. Notice how I'm dodging, and it's hitting me. Now, you can also block it, and, you know, of course, parry it. Blue means you cannot dodge it. So, don't try, because it will hit you. Because when you dodge, your guard will disappear. By the way, if you're wondering what we're doing right now, it's a zone attack. Like I said before, each character has their own unique zone attack. Warlord's is undodgeable. Next up is bashes. Now, bashes are a different type of attack. They are not a heavy or a light. Their input is normally the guard break button after a certain, like, you know, prerequisite. So for Warlord, you dodge forward, and then you press guard break during that dodge forward. And that's how you do his bash. Notice how it doesn't have a direction. It just makes me glow, and it displaces him. Usually, bashes will have a dedicated punish. Some bashes don't. Some bashes don't have a punish. Some bashes, the bash itself is a punish. But bashes, you cannot block, and you cannot parry. You have to dodge them. You have to dodge them. Now this is what it looks like when a bash is on you. Notice how it also has the unblockable symbol. You gotta dodge it. You gotta dodge the bash. Don't let the bash touch you. Bashes also do a little bit of stamina damage. So keep that in mind. Bash, you dodge. Notice how when he bashes me, there is no indicator of what direction he's from. That is because there is no direction. It's just a bash. So if you see a bash, you're going to want to dodge it. Unless, you know, I'll get into that later. There's some unless stuff. But for now, you're just going to want to dodge it. Next up, I'm going to show you guys what hyper armor looks like. Now, hyper armor means your attack will not be interrupted by lights or heavies. So let's say someone throws an attack, you throw a light and it interrupts them. That won't happen if you have hyper armor on your attack. So what hyper armor looks like is your character will glow white during the attack, like this. This means you cannot be interrupted by a light or a heavy. Bashes will still interrupt you. Notice how he's glowing white on the heavy. That's hyper armor. That's what hyper armor looks like. So, if you're ever wondering, hey, I hit this guy. How come he's still swinging at me? Why is it still swinging? Hyper armor. Up next is dodge attacks. Now, a dodge attack is basically any attack that requires a side dodge input to perform. Now, Warlord has a very simple one. Either you dodge to the left or you dodge to the right. During that dodge, you press light, and see how it's different than just dodging and then pressing light. This gives you some iframes, which means you can use this to dodge attacks. Do not use this as an opener though, as you cannot feint it. Lots of heroes have this. Some heroes have different inputs. Some you dodge to the side and you do heavy. Some you dodge to the side and you press guard break. Up next is crushing counters. Now, not all characters have this, but it's important that you know what they are. So crushing counters are basically, instead of parrying with a heavy, you input a light, just like you would to parry with a heavy, on parry timing, Basically, you parry with a light. And it looks something like this. Like this. That's what it looks like. Basically, this is another way you can punish a move. It's a pretty good trick to use. It also does more damage than a regular light. Usually warlords do 12, but when you do a crushing counter, it does 17. 17, 12. Deflecting is basically another type of move that is exclusive to certain characters. Now, the way you do it is you dodge in the direction that the attack is coming from on parry timing. So, don't worry about this too much. It's a little hard to do. Sometimes I even struggle with it. But basically, this is a way you can punish moves if you want to style on them. This is what it looks like. That's a deflect. That's what a deflect looks like. All the assassins have a deflect. Some other characters who are not assassins have something that works similar to a deflect. But all I need to know is this is how you deflect. I know a lot of you have probably looked at the moveset and wondered, how do I deflect? How do I do that? Well, this is how. You dodge in the direction it's coming from. Don't do that. I missed. In the direction it is coming from on parry timing. It's pretty hard to do. Don't worry if you can't do it consistently. It's kind of tough. I'm just being bad right now. I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna edit that out. Alright. Up next is punishes. Now, when I say punish, what I mean is like your free attack that you get by doing something. Now, for example, Warden here, whenever you guard break someone, when you guard break, Warden gets a free side heavy. If you land the guard break and they do not counter it, no matter what, you get a free side heavy on Warden. Some other characters have different things. Now, another example is Warden, when you parry a heavy, you get a free light. And basically, when you get a parry, heavy parry on Warden, do a side light. And then, because of Warden's specific moveset, you do 2 side lights in the same direction, because it has a second guaranteed one. That's his punish. So when I say punish, I mean something you get because of something. For example, Warden's shoulder bash, you get the 2 lights. That's the punish for the shoulder bash. Punish just means what you get for doing something. So up next is chains and finishers. No, when someone says chain, what they mean is it's not an opener, it's something that comes after. So for example, if I throw a heavy, I throw another one, that heavy is in the chain. That's also a chain finisher on Warden here. So if you throw something, and then you throw another thing right after, like if I throw a light and then another light somewhere else like this, that is a chain. Chain just means something that isn't your opener. So, if you say to do something in chain, that means they want you to do something first, then go into the thing. Now, finishers are when your normal moves end in the chain. So, if you do your last light or your last heavy. So for Warden, you end with a heavy. Now, this, just because it's a finisher does not mean it's the end of your chain. Like your full chain. This is the end of your normal attack chain. Because some characters, they can keep going after their finisher. Because Warden's finisher here, this is his finisher, but you can keep going after it. You can go right into his bash. So it does not mean that you're done, it just means that your regular hits are done until you do something else. Some characters do not have something that can continue the chain, but a lot of them can. Up next is mix-ups. Now mix-ups are probably one of the most important parts of For Honor. Basically a mix-up is, it's a mix-up. You're trying to mix your opponent up. Basically, you need to throw different things at different times, you know. Do something, but then sometimes make it look like you're gonna do that something, but then, you know, cancel it into something else. So, if I were to throw a heavy, then feint it, that's already a mix-up. Because they're like, oh, is he gonna throw it through? If he throws it through, I'll try to parry it. But then, no. You feint it. The parry button is the heavy button. So if you try to parry something, you'll throw a heavy out too. I will explain what kind of mix-ups work and why they work in a minute in the next section, but that's all you need to know really. Mixing someone up is doing something and canceling it into something else. Now, You can also say that throwing a heavy or throwing a light is a mix-up, because let's say they're trying to parry a light. They're expecting you to throw a light. So they're going to try to parry the light. But if they're expecting that, you could throw a heavy and then they parry too early because they were expecting the light. Anything can be a mix-up. Even just dodging at them can be a mix-up because some characters have things they can do from the dodge. So they can be like, oh, he's dodging at me. He's going to do something. But you can either not, or you can do something different than they expect. You can do the thing, then cancel it on some characters. Mixing up is just fooling your opponent. This is something that you're going to be doing all the time. Maybe not at low levels, but you're going to be doing this all the time once you start, like, understanding how the game works and facing people who also know how the game works. Right, up next is feinting. Now, I already talked about feinting, but there's two types of feinting. So there's hard feinting and there's soft feinting. Now, hard feinting is just when you feint with B. So if you throw a heavy, then you cancel it with B or circle. If you cancel it with the feint button, that is called a hard feint. There's also something called a soft feint, which is when you cancel a move by inputting another move without having to press B. Not every character has this, but a good amount of them do, and it's a very good thing to know. So for example, on Kensei here, you can throw top heavy, but then throw a side light or a side heavy during any of his top heavies. This works with any of his things. Like for example, I'll do two lights, then I go top heavy, but then during that top heavy, I press side heavy without pressing B. That is a soft feint. If you cancel something into something else without pressing B or C or circle, that is a soft feint. But if you cancel it with the feint button, with B, that is a hard feint. The next term you need to know is called buffering. Now, buffering is basically queuing up your next move while your other move is still going. So, if you throw a heavy, during that heavy, like mid-heavy, if you press heavy again, that will queue up your second heavy. Buffering just means queuing up your next attack. This is also good for, like, if you need to do a certain punish on a bash. During your bash's impact, press your punish. It's a good thing to do if you keep doing things too late. Look, during my double lights here, I press heavy while I'm doing the double lights. I'm pressing heavy while I'm doing the double lights to queue up the next attack. Buffering is just queuing up your next attack, so you don't have to wait until your next attack is over. During the ending of your current attack, you can queue up the next one. This is really good for chaining. This is usually what you're going to be doing when you're chaining. So, remember, you don't have to wait for your move to be over to throw your next attack. You can, but you don't have to. If you buffer it, it's slightly faster. Because look, if I press light, I'm pressing heavy after I press light when I'm doing this. It's a bit slower, but if I do light, then heavy, it's faster. Buffering is just queuing up your next attack. Next up is something called enhanced attacks. Now, enhanced attacks means that when you land it on someone's guard, so like if they block your attack, you will not bounce off. So look here, Warlord has enhanced lights. So if I throw lights at his guard, it doesn't stop my combo. So I can throw the second one, or if I throw the first light here, I can keep the combo going. It's because his is enhanced, and it will not stop the combo. This is what it looks like when your lights are not enhanced and you hit the guard. See how I can't continue my chain? It just completely stops me. There are a few times that guard breaking will catch somebody and they cannot counter it. Now, one of these is if you guard break them during a dodge. They cannot counter guard break if you guard break them during a dodge. Now, if you guard break them during an opener heavy, so during a parry attempt, it'll also catch them and they cannot counter. That is the main point of the mix-up. They either, they think you're gonna throw it through, try to guard break. I'm rambling. Pretty much, if you get caught during a dodge or during your startup heavy, you cannot counter guard break. Another way that you can get caught by a guard break and not be able to counter it is after your recovery of certain things. So, for example, if Shigoki here throws his charged attack, his charged heavy, if he throws this, he's in recovery and you get a free guard break. Right there, he can't counter that. His finisher, any of his charged attacks, if he charges it through and it becomes unblockable and you dodge it, free guard break, because he's in his recovery. He's in the recovery after that big long move, so he cannot counter guard break. Alright, so next up is hit stun. Now, let's say you're fighting a dude, you're hitting him, you're whacking him, right? He hits you. Suddenly, it's his turn to attack. That means that your moves will come out later than his. So, watch, he hits me with the heavy. I'm gonna like try to interrupt his second heavy with a light. I won't be able to because I'm in his hit stun. So you can see the startup of my light there, but his hit stun on his first attack is having me stunned long enough to where I can't start it up. So it's in his court. The ball's in his court. See, now I'm doing stuff. It's my turn. But if I get hit by something, if he like counters me or he's able to counter something and go into his own things, he'll be in hit stun. I won't have enough time to interrupt. So here, I'll block his first heavy and try to interrupt the second. Still, I'm in the block stun. I'm in the hit stun. So you can't just spam attacks. You can't just spam attacks. You can't be like, oh, what the heck? I threw a light and it didn't hit him. He hit me out of it. No, you're stupid. You're dumb. Just wait your turn. Think. Try to counter it. Don't just start trying to go into your own combo. You gotta pay attention. If he's in his combo, you gotta think, how can I stop his combo? How can I get out of it? First thing you need to know about For Honor is you are going to die. You are going to die, and you can't get upset. I mean, you can get a little upset, but don't let it stop you from playing the game. This game has been out for like 8 years now. People are gonna know how to play it. You don't know how to play it unless you're just watching this and you wanna make fun of me for messing up or something. I am not a pro, not anymore, but I'm not a pro. I just have around 4K hours in this game, so I feel I'm knowledgeable enough to talk about it. But you will die. You are not going to be the person that never dies. Everybody who's played this game has died, and you are going to die a lot. It's just the part of learning. You learn when you die. As long as you learn one new thing when you die, it's good. It doesn't even need to be something big. You can just be like, hey, he did that. Next time, maybe he'll do that again, so I'll do this to counter it. You just gotta think about what they did and think about what you can do to stop it next time. Now, if you want to fight 1v1, go to duels. Duels is for 1v1. Brawls, you can do duels there, but not everybody wants to. And you can't get upset at people for wanting to do a brawl. The brawl mode is for doing 2v2s, not 2 1v1s. Yes, you can do that, sometimes it can be fun, but you can't expect everybody to want to do that. If you want to do 1v1s, go do duels. And especially, do not try to expect getting any duels in Dominion. Dominion is a team-based mode. You can't get upset at people for ganking you in team-based modes. That's just how it is. You can't like expect them to just give you a 1v1. Dominion is a team game mode, and you are going to get ganked. You are going to be ganking. That's just part of it. One other thing, if you don't know what you're doing and you're in Dominion and there's 2 of you fighting 1 person, don't just spam attacks on them. It will fill something up called revenge, and if you don't know how revenge works, just be very careful. Don't just spam attacks, because the more damage they take, the more that you hit stun them. And, well, basically, if you touch them and there's more than 1 of you touching them, they will build up revenge, and then they will start having this yellow bar filling up, and then they will glow yellow. And, yeah, it's just bad for you. Try not to, feed revenge. Be careful. Unless you're fighting me, if you find me in-game, go ahead and feed all the revenge you want. I love it. This was just a very basic telling of the mechanics of the game and very basic, tips. This is not meant to be super in-depth. I will go in-depth on certain things later if you guys want. Go ahead and leave a comment on anything that you're confused about. And you know what? Personally, if you want to be taught by me, I'm available on weekends. Just leave a comment. I might make a Discord. Go ahead and just leave a comment on what you're struggling with or any questions you have, anything about certain characters. Go ahead and leave a comment.